Good morning everyone. Today I will be presenting two functions used in Windows Forms application. To start, we have combo box. According to Microsoft, a combo box displays a text box combined with a list box, which enables the user to select items from the list or enter a new value. I will not touch the subject of list box because it will be discussed later on, but to distinguish my topic, combo box has a drop-down option in which a window will drop to show the list of options or items the user has. Now this is an example of a combo box. We often see this layout when we are creating account, like selecting our country, and even in Google Forms where we select our section. They basically function the same way. Now in my own words, combo box gives the user a specific set of options and allows to easily view the options that he or she has. For example, in Canteen, we basically have a lot of options when we are buying snacks. It becomes a bit difficult to find a specific items when there is a clutter or disorganization. If we apply the combo box, let's say we only have two product or options in which one is a chocolate bar and then the other is a biscuit. It is much easier now for the user to decide or even just browse the options that he or she has. It gives the idea that there is only a limited options or items in a way that you cannot buy something like loaf of bread since it is not part of the option, thus it is impossible to select. The last one is it allows the programmer to only receive specific inputs from the user. An example of this is when we were asked about our section. Let's say the option is only BSCS1A or BSCS1B. If we apply a text box here, user may input either of the two but with different layout. For example, some might choose to type 1A or CS1A or the BSCS1A. The programmer basically received three different inputs that only pertains to one option. If we apply combo box, it allows us to receive a very specific inputs from the user. It also allows an organized and consistent data gathering process. If 5 students from first year CS were asked about their section, we will only receive either BSCS1A or BSCS1B as an answer. Another example of use of combo box is when we were selecting our country. One cannot put Mars or a country that does not exist. So it is better to have a specific options or items so that we will not receive invalid inputs. Now for the demo, first we need to create a WinForms application. Then here in our toolbox we can select or we can try to find the combo box. This is what the combo box looks like. And if we run it, this will give a drop-down option. But for now it does not contain any items. So we will have to add. This is what a combo box looks like with items. So to add items, there are different ways in adding items and also different ways to specify the source of our items. Simplest way to add will be through this, in which we will utilize this arrow option and then edit items. First, let's say BSCS1A and BSCS1B, and we press OK. What will happen now is when we run this code or when we run this WinForms application, what will happen is that we will now have two items under our drop-down option. So we can select whether it's BSCS1A or BSCS1B. There are also other ways in adding in an item in our drop-down option. And one way is also writing a lines of code. So first we have to write the name of our combo box. In this one it's combo box 2. Then add items and then word add. And inside this parentheses we'll have to use a quotation mark, and inside that will be the item that we want to add. Let's say BSCS1C. So what will happen now is that we now add the BSCS1C to our list of items. It can be now selected as part of the option. For this one, I use an array. So first is I declare an array of string in which it contains 3 items. The first one in index 0 is bsinfo1a, and index 1 will be bsinfo1b, and then index 2 will be bsinfo1c. And I use for each to add all of these items. Now what will happen now is that we will now add all of these items in our combo box items. What will happen is that there's now an option for bsinfo1a, 1b, and 1c. That is basically how we add data in our combo box. Now there's also different options like remove and even clear to easily remove data from the combo box that we have. For example, here items.remove, let's say BSCS1A. What will now happen is that the option BSCS1A will be removed. So now BSCS1A is now deleted or removed from the items that we have. And we can again do this multiple times. Say 1B. So now what we should have is only bsinfo section. So now it works. Now we can also do a clear. Anyway, so we just have combo box 2, the name of our combo box, items, then clear. What now happen is that we're clearing all of the items that we have in our combo box 2. So now there's no item anymore. So this is also an example of our combo box. This is an option in which you can select country. Now you can type your country here, which let's say Philippines, but this one I put an option to autocomplete. Now we can also do this in our program. So to do the same thing, we'll have to go back in our design and then select our combo box and try to find the autocomplete section. Here we'll have to try the suggest, and then for our source we'll select list items. And if we start, what will happen is that when we try to type a data, a small window will try to pop up to help us complete the text that we're trying to type. So let's say PS. Now we have all of this information or the items. And if I try to type CS, now the info is gone, or if I try to type info, now the PS is gone. So somewhat similar to this will be this autocomplete mode append. And the difference that they have is that it will not have a pop-up. Instead, an autocomplete mode will be suggested to you in this way. SES1A. I don't know exact word for this, but that's how it works. Info 1, something like that. So there's also a mix of two, will be suggest append, which again is just a mix of those suggest and append mode, in which drop down will there's a window that will pop up, and then an option will be like that. That's basically it. It's just as simple as that. So that's the end of my discussion about combo box. That's all. Thank you.